What's up,
Hello.
everybody?
Welcome to the top 12, or at least half of it happening over on this stream and this machine. Saw some offline excitement about players warming up, some height chat going on, all the usual stuff.
Yep. Just, I think they were giving some of those, some of the top 12 players a chance to get a set in on the cabs and just like get a feel for the machine since they haven't been on them all weekend.
Yeah, walking around earlier, I saw some of them warming up on the other machine, just that has been used for warm-ups all through these 2 days. Just seeing some of them casually PFCing some 17s to warm up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun this evening.
Typical top 12 things.
This side.
No, I don't think we won't know that just yet, but as soon as we do, we'll certainly let you know.
Hello, Juju.
Juju, Ari, everybody else in the chat today.
Yeah, hello, Ari and Luke. Just kind of looking up. Hi, everyone. Just go ahead and
Okay. Ty and ReRhyme. Those are our top 4 that are auto-seeded into the top 8. The rest of the bracket is filled in with seeds 5 to 8, and then each of the advancing 4 players from pool 17. And so those will be the first 4 matches that we play. Will each be one of those seeds 5 to 8 and one of the advancing players. And the winners of those matches will play our top 4 seeds.
Yeah, we're moving from the pool format into a traditional double elimination. I like these pool formats that have started being used for all the DDR tournaments lately.
Yeah, it's such a great way to get more close matches throughout, and just like you have way better experiences for all of the newer players who haven't been competing forever, who aren't coming here to like actually have a shot at like taking home the whole tournament.
Yeah, and for the top seed players coming in, they are going into sort of a traditional formally seeded competitive thing like they always have been, but a lot of the other players, yeah, you get paired with 7 people at about your skill level, and it means you traveled out to a tournament to play 3 way more fun matches, and it's just a better experience for everyone. And you get cool stories like people climbing up 3 or 4 pools, once or twice throughout the weekend.
Yeah, it's always kind of interesting to just like wait at one of these events and see who's going to be that ridiculous person who just is really on that day and plays their heart out.
Yeah, during the Anson run, I heard people talking on stream about the kind of advantage of getting to play 3 pools in a row.
Advantage. I mean, it is an advantage, but, well, it's also a disadvantage because you're freaking exhausted.
So let me find the actual bracket here and look at what our first 8 players that we're going to be seeing are. Looks to me like in some order, the bottom 8 of the top 12, if you will, the players that do not have buys out of the first round are Roscoe, ANDROO, Chaos, Desklamp, FENRIR, T.Swag, NOBARBEN, and CelAnima. Some fan favorites in there, some players you probably know and have heard of, some people you've already been seen playing today.
The mic attacked me.
So yeah, a lot of California players here. The top 4, as Nightman mentioned before, are going to be Chris, sort of a stalwart of California tournaments for a long time, ReRhyme, who is from right around here, right?
Yeah, Reno, pretty close. Same state, at least. I don't know exactly how far away that is from here. I'm not super familiar with the topography of Nevada.
Now we have their cards up on screen. Mark, who is from Colorado, I think he put up a strong showing at Upbeat as well, if I recall.
Definitely.
And Ty, another California sort of staple tournament player. Chaos and NOBARBEN, I think, are pretty well known for various pursuits in the DDR community. Chaos, a top tech player and sort of a leader in the freestyle community. And NOBARBEN, who used to have a different name about his life as a marathon runner, and now has just embraced being NOBARBEN.
Yeah, marathon runner, or marathon finisher 32892.
I couldn't remember it. I hear the sound of an ace cab starting up. And is that Andrew and Roscoe stepping over there?
Yep,
Yeah,
looks like
excellent.
That's what we'll have first.
So there we're going to have our first round of the top 12 happening over here. So Andrew and Roscoe. Andrew is someone that I didn't personally know super well before all this. Going through info here, New York player. That's kind of awesome. Favorite song is Unbelievable Doubles. That's a little unhinged, but okay.
I respect it. Like it's a great chart. It's a very wide chart. Lots of good crossovers, but it's very easy to get lost if you're not familiar with it.
And Roscoe is another person, a name that I remember from California tournaments for a long time.
Another
so, do we
Concord
have their
Bay
card
Area
draw? I
player.
guess we're going to be finding it out as the stream does. There we go. Thank you. Idola Challenge, Triple Cross Expert, both 17s, no pocket picks being used. So just jumping right in with 17s, we are going to be seeing a lot of them over the next hour.
Yeah, this is almost like the two sides of the coin in the 17 folder, without going too far into like gimmicks and whatnot. With Idola being like one of the most complicated high BPMs, foot speed oriented 17s, and Triple Cross being much more tame and straightforward.
Idola is definitely above average tiring. Nice feeling of being the one player who's white going into the long pause, but they start out very, very tight to each other. Being told to make sure I'm audible on the mic. We'll make sure of that from now on. Thank you. And all right, coming back over here, they look like they're within about 20 EX, but Roscoe gradually pulling ahead. That is, I think, the biggest break you get in this song.
Yeah, I believe so. Because like even in the other sections where you kind of have musical breaks, you kind of go straight back into 12th runs.
So they started out quite even. Roscoe has been pulling slightly ahead, and one of the things we're going to start seeing in these 17s, oh, there's another break. Shows it's been a while. One of the things we're going to start seeing in these 17s is whether one of the players starts getting a little more tired as you get to the end of them. Right now, they're staying within 31, but that's going to be harder and harder to pick back up for Andrew as long as Roscoe keeps it together and doesn't get exhausted, which is not going to be too likely on the first song of the day.
Now, the question there is more if he's warmed up enough for all of these streams.
Doing the crossovers, picking up a miss, but still overall doing them very well in terms of points. Pretty clean on the runs there.
Yeah.
And a nice win for Roscoe.
Those end streams were really nicely handled by both. It just seemed like Andrew fell behind some of the streams earlier. Picked up a lot of slows.
All right, Triple Cross Expert, another high BPM chart, like you said. probably not as tiring as Idola, and probably one that they're going to be able to stick to pretty well, both of these players, throughout the entire song.
It's really going to be what I feel a battle of perfects, or to see if either of the players gets lost in one of the streams footing somewhere.
It's always great being in the top 12 when we start picking 17s and we're describing them as MA battles, but it's absolutely where we're going to be for a lot of these charts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's strange to frame it that way for me, but it's the reality at this level of play.
Yeah, so, you know, during day 2 of the tournament, there's always some point where you transition into like the crowd going wild because someone PFC'd a 17 to the next 2 hours where we're going to see a lot of 17 PFCs and maybe even higher.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew shaking the legs out a bit.
Yep, enjoying sort of not taking time pressure between songs, taking the moment to take whatever time he needs. Generally good discipline there in a tournament.
Quick note here, now that we're in the double elimination stage, this is 2 out of 3 rather than just being like 2 songs. So if Roscoe does not win this one, we will be playing Blaster as well.
Both players starting and locked in. Still only one perfect. Song, of course, has not done too much yet. Roscoe 2 or 3 more on the first 16th note triplets. Ooh, I didn't see what was that great there. As the song gets busy for the first time.
Starts throwing some of those longer
4
streams.
EX. 16th note crossover triplets now being added to the mix. Both of them handling them well, but then a miss a few measures later. One way or another, the EX difference on this one looked like it was going to be very small. Right as I say it, it looks like we just suddenly open up a gap of almost 30, over 30. Yeah, it may well be that Roscoe did indeed flag a little bit in terms of energy because he was very, very clean on these patterns at the start. And now 1400 EX deep into the song, looking just a little harder to keep up, but Andrew is still going very strong. Very high Marvelous count on various triplets and 5-note 16th note runs. Relatively vanilla patterns, and he's completely locked in on them.
It does look like Roscoe's having trouble with the longer streams. Idola's a little bit more burst-oriented rather than these sustained stream patterns, and it just seems like his legs aren't quite up to it right now.
And that can just be, I've heard this discussed through various points all throughout the pools. That's just a challenge when you're the player who is seeded into the round as opposed to the player who's climbing up. Having played for an hour does, I think, give you a bit of an advantage in having your legs able to keep going throughout a song like that.
Yeah, as long as you can maintain the energy to keep playing, your legs are going to be good. Whereas you're coming into this more or less cold, having hit those stream patterns. It can be rough. That said, that shouldn't be a concern for this one. This is going to be an absolute MA battle with very little foot speed requirement. There was some technical patterning in here. Particularly the ending is a little bit famous for some complicated crossover patterns that will more than likely be double-stepped for the most part. But like managing to keep as crisp as possible with the Marvelous window as you attack them will be the real decisive factor here, I think.
Agreed that we're going to have a very tight MA battle here. Looks like we already have a PFC on this from Andrew earlier. And yeah, just a much easier song than the other two. Lower BPM, like you said. Mostly syncopated, broken 16th note patterns, more than streams. And I don't think it should pose much trouble for either of them. Few perfects creeping in right at the start as they find the exact beat at the beginning of the song. But 2 for each, roughly? They're differing only by 1 EX now, so it's something like 2 versus 3 perfects. dead even again. This one I think is going to be tight till the end.
Definitely a battle of inches.
One measure stream there, one of the longest we'll see in this song, but now we have offbeat 16th note triplets, and there are a lot of those in this. Drake section, 1 EX difference still. The thing with these easy songs is that they really will go either way until the very end. 1 EX still for Andrew, now 4.
Every perfect counts.
Opening up even these 4 EX could be a huge deal, but I think most of the points lost on this song will be lost on the twisty runs that you referenced at the end, so this still could be anyone. Long stream that I misremembered before. And now 1 for Roscoe. Roscoe nailing those crossovers to take it by 1. I couldn't even call that until the moment the song was actually over because they were just MAing those crossover runs at the end, and Roscoe hit them near perfectly to stay ahead by 1.
Oh my goodness. 33 perfects to 26 with 4 greats. Oh my goodness.
Cheer from the crowd there, I'm sure you could hear, as he moves on, and he will have to play. Let's take a look. Chris for life in a few minutes. So yeah, exciting round to start it. 1 EX in the 3rd song. Almost kind of crept up on us, like just watching Blaster go back and forth between the highest gap I saw was something like 4 EX for Andrew, and even then, you know, that can be tough to get back for them on a song like that, but Roscoe completely nailed the end.
Yeah, Nailbiter is the perfect word for it. They just traded leads by like 1, maybe 2 EX over the course of the song.
And you know, I was so busy just kind of talking about the excitement of the end and looking over at the crowd and didn't see what the actual perfect counts were for both of them before they moved off the score screen, but I'm going to guess very low.
33 for Roscoe, and then 26 with 4 greats for Andrew.
Thank you.
Yeah, quite low.
That's it. See you next time on the dance floor.
Looks like we're going into T.Swag and FENRIR.
T.Swag, one of the fun participants in the Friday night starting event for this tournament. Lots of people saw him step up cold during the fun team battle in PFC Vanessa to kind of kick off this whole weekend of fun.
Yeah, that was quite the run.
And I'm sure you like seeing him executing all the turns and that.
Always. I enjoy when people opt to do the crossovers that they don't necessarily have to.
And so he picked Go for the Top. A lot of speed changes, a lot of other little oddities, a very gradual slowdown.
It's just got the 1 gradual slowdown and a warp. There's no other speed changes in it, really.
Okay, there's a stutter step stops and that's all.
Yeah.
Okay,
The stutter stops.
No, you remembered it right.
It has a very strange section in the middle with a bunch of triplets that absolutely do not flow in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. But most of the rest of the chart actually has a very solid crossover flow and wants you to do the crossovers. Just 16 streams in and out.
So for a 180 BPM song, it's something like 2.75. That's only $4.95.
Yeah.
I have not paid specific attention to what he normally reads at, but just struck me as slightly low.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He does read slower than most high-level players. probably as part of that is opting to do with the crossovers and whatnot.
Yeah, a little bit better look ahead just helps for that.
Absolutely.
FENRIR up at 3.5, which is a way more normal 630 BPM at this level. Both of them starting out completely tight. Okay, I was trying not to say anything until the white combo broke. I wasn't hoping it wouldn't go on longer, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do if he kept it up.
We do see here a lot of those like crossover patterns that I was mentioning. And this is that broken triple section. There's just really not a good way to attack that I've figured out anyway.
I have definitely not studied the 18, so I cannot claim that. Wow, they're even going into the slowdown and freeze. Whew. T.Swag dropped just a couple points after that, but is staying within about 3. Ooh, no, fell behind a bit. It was either after I said that or before. It was pretty hard to read during the fast section.
We're gonna have some more crossover streams here.
Yeah, the ending is definitely busy enough that either player could drop points and lead could go either way. Just saw FENRIR get a couple misses. Is that gonna? It does.
T.Swag takes the lead back. FENRIR is a player from Southern California. They were also one of the upbeat participants for that tournament. I see him at a couple of these events. He was at Boba Cup as well. He's just a very strong player, as is apparent here.
Another song that went back and forth multiple times, just like we saw in the previous set.
It seemed that FENRIR had a stronger grasp of like some of the more straightforward stream sections, but then when the patterns got more complicated in those like the crossovers and rhythms, T.Swag was able to just execute those a little bit better, being that that's more of his default play style.
Yeah, maybe unsurprisingly based on what we were saying at the start. So a second appearance of Idola Challenge. Should note that if FENRIR wins this, we're going on to Possession 20th, which maybe I kind of want to see.
Yeah, the
Just
expert
a
chart,
wacky
not the
chart.
challenge.
Possession 20th expert, yep. Split bracket onto 2 streams. Yeah, I definitely understand, but also just think of how awesome it is to have an event that's twice as big as it would have been if it had 1 CAD to play on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a necessary evil of trying to run a 112-person bracket in 2 days.
And this venue has been amazing. 2 machines for the tournament the entire weekend, plus a warm-up machine, plus all the other dance games that people are hanging out, spending time on.
Yeah, absolutely.
T.Swag 1 perfect, FENRIR 3 in the intro.
Reducer, I'm really not sure. That's up to the people who are running. I'm just helping to commentate for the moment. I'm just kind of taking things as they come.
I believe eventually, yes. I think once we're down to top 4, I think it will only be on the other stream. But most of the top 12 is being split just to keep the event moving. T.Swag's fit is literally what I associate with DDR players in the early 2000s. I don't know, these days it's just what people associate with T.Swag, so it's hard for me to think of anything else.
I completely agree with that statement.
Stream admin says we're going to be running matches on this stream for essentially as long as possible to make sure the event completes on schedule, which is also incredibly important. 10 for FENRIR at the first long pause. Second long pause, we were talking a while.
Second pause. Very complex patterning in those 12th notes, but FENRIR keeping his lead.
This could be anyone after the ending fast section.
Costly miss, but also a good for FENRIR.
A little bit of double stepping going on, but now going back to the crossovers. Very nice turns from FENRIR. Ooh, but got a little off after that. Still stays ahead a good bit. Not too much song left at this point. As long as he keeps up on these ending runs, he should be good. He does very nicely. And yes, we will be seeing possession 20th.
Yeah, T.Swag definitely a player known more for technical proficiency than raw foot speed. So Idola going the way of Fenrir is not too much a surprise, but it was definitely a close match. There wasn't really more than, what was that, a 15 to 18 point lead until the very end.
So possession 20th, 16, not the shock arrow chart, still possession with a lot of weirdness added in. Kind of a fun chart, but comparatively difficult for a 16. A lot of stuff that they could drop points on compared to a song like Blaster.
Yeah, it's definitely a trickier 16. I somewhat jokingly, somewhat seriously refer to it as Possession New Century Mix, because
this is the soda-fied version of Possession. And yeah, it trades out some 12th notes for some dotted 8th patterns, adds a few stutter step stops, a few just odd little one-measure slowdowns. I'm going to guess that these players will know it completely cold.
Yeah, definitely, especially considering that both of them are at least Emerald ranked in the Life 4 system, so have to be, as a rule, familiar with everything in the game that is 14 or higher.
Both of them kind of taking a little bit to move their legs around, shuffle around on the pads, make sure everything feels good. The level of kind of seriousness that you suddenly jump into when you see the top 12 players is really visible. They all have their little ritual for every song and total focus. So we're starting with the standard possession chorus, but with the rhythm changed. Into the possession quarter notes.
With a bit of New Century loop in the rhythms.
Indeed. The player's staying pretty close on this part.
Fenrir off to an early lead of about 10 points.
This part pretty familiar from Possession. Other than that, both of them locked in on the jumps. I've seen maybe one perfect. Another there. But keeping it within those 10 points still. Fenrir with the lead though.
Trickiest parts of the chart are going to be coming up in a little bit here. We're going to have some quick triplets into some step jump patterns in and out. Some of the toughest to stay clean on, I think.
And T.Swag has pulled ahead with a miss or two from Fenrir and a few other things. So now this one is going to be his to hold on to as we get close to the second set of jumps. And he is holding on to it so far. Both players, very easy time timing these jumps again. 12th
last
note
little
runs,
gimmick here.
pretty reminiscent of Possession.
And T.Swag takes it.
Yeah, once he has that 20-point lead going into the ending jumps that are pretty much like the familiar Possession jumps, he's just not going to give back that many points.
Yeah, absolutely.
T.Swag moving up out of Group 17, right?
Correct.
So, first player we see doing that, very cool. And let's see, if the other two first round matches were played over on the other stream, then I think we should be moving on to one of the top 4 players. I see Roscoe and Chris.
That's it. See you
So
next time on
first
the
match,
dance.
Chris is playing on stream. Kind of a fan favorite in his own right. Probably needs no introduction, even though we gave him one before. Hello, Carrie in chat.
This is a set.
All right, over the period 18. We've not got our first 19 drawn for the day. But we have an 18. We haven't seen too many of those yet.
Looks like the vetoes were Nageki no Ki and 888 from Chris, just not wanting to play those very foot speed oriented 18s.
It's interesting that Roscoe protected over the period.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. It was, I suppose he must feel confident on it because obviously you're not going to catch someone like Chris off guard. Like he's grinded everything in the game for a tremendous amount of time and is just going to know everything.
And it's also because this is a song with a 19, and he's just so associated with grinding out records on those kinds of 19s and associated hard 18s. See if Roscoe turns out to have made the right pick, thinking that he will be able to nail over the period at a level to compete with Chris. Well, it's not a pocket pick. It was just a draw pick. But I agree with you. What would be a good pocket pick against Chris? I mean, you've just got to think like, what's the chart that you're individually best at, and hope it works. I think that's all you could do.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that it is worth mentioning that historically, as one of Chris's weaker skill sets, obviously everything being relative to the player in question, is executing crossover patterns that he can't double step. So, in that lens, out of the picks available, it's not the worst option.
Roscoe
the question, of course, is if you think you can do better.
Surprised by being ready for the first note. Sorry. Let's see how they time the 5-note burst coming out of the stop. Marvelous is from Chris. Should note the sudden plus use from Roscoe and not from Chris. Also, the two different sweep mods. After one miss, Roscoe timing the 16th ladders quite nicely. Now the famous over the period swoosh section. The rhythm is much simpler in the 18 than it is in the 19. I would be mad if I had to play this first song. Yeah, or even first song in your second set, or even first song in your second set after a warm-up. None of those are really very appealing options, to be honest. Chris is just another day at the office. Yeah, and I mean, while we don't want to get too carried away extolling one player, it is absolutely true that he has made a name for himself practicing songs like this and being able to perform on them. Almost gets through the high-speed section at his 1.75x speed mod. But overall a pretty commanding performance.
On 1.75, that's going to be...
it's 420, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be 735.
735. I went too fast. People who watch me stream video games and also know that I like math know that I should not ever try to do math on stream while I'm talking live. That's a lesson that I've learned too many times.
Streamer brain is a heck of a thing. But yeah, very, very strong performance from Roscoe. 958 on that on command is quite good.
Yeah, we don't want the commentary to make it sound like people should treat Chris as unbeatable. We've seen him beaten in tournament sets in recent events. Merely that performance on him on over the period 18 was probably in line with what you expected. Max 300X special, fun chart, twisty, syncopated version of Max 300.
Yeah, this is one of those charts that at first glance just seems like a whole lot of jank with it. Makes no sense, but there is something of a path through it if you choose to study it that makes it much more consistent. It's interesting. It's fairly unique.
You've probably done that more than me. I've probably watched the unison a few times and gone, oh, there's a weird little 5-note crossover pattern there, but not checked which foot to start each one on.
It's something I've thought about doing, but haven't actually done. Not really at that level yet.
This one starting out very close to EX after a miss from Chris and probably 5 or 6 perfects from Roscoe. Ooh, now even after a couple perfects from Chris. All right, this could be first very exciting song of the set. Both players completely able to handle it. I don't think this song is going to throw too much at them that's going to change that. It's probably going to stay close, dead even now.
The big question is going to be some of the runs in the latter half.
Nice handling of that crossover.
That part's tricky.
Yeah, too bad for that little slip from Roscoe, because it's going to be very hard to get 20 or so points back, now 30. He has been handling most of the song so well, including the runs there where you have to cross and then start the next 5-note burst crossed. I think he slows down a bit at the end. Whoever's yelling, it's actually harder for us to hear with headphones on than it probably is you, but yeah, one of the features of this whole weekend event has been hearing the other half of the room cheer as 2 people finish a song, and that's probably going to be happening constantly with the exciting top 12 rounds. There are 2 ace cabs with a big sound baffle between them and just a whole crowd of people sitting and standing around the entire thing. It's kind of hard to see on camera.
Yeah. It was a very strong run from Roscoe. He had, I believe it was 58 perfects and something like 11 greats, a couple of misses. Like, that's pretty solid. Chris getting 19 perfects and the 1 miss, I believe it was.
So let's see, other top 4 players that will be coming in this round. We'll probably see them walk up in a second.
We have T.Swag and
There we go, now they're on screen.
T.Swag opting to protect air heroes. That is a very on-brand selection.
Ace for aces, that's a fun chart. So T.Swag, who we just saw getting a win, and Marqqq, who another player who got a bye into the top 4. And we have a set of 3 18s. This heated up really fast.
I mean, the draw is nothing but 17s and 18s. Oh, there was 1 16, my mistake, which was vetoed by T.Swag. He has a bit of a vendetta against Out of Focus, I think, because of some of the stuff in the doubles charts.
Air Heroes, fun 18, was a 17 at the start of Ace. Much better placed as an 18. 2 players with hats meeting in round 2, as chat is pointing out. Mark already practicing his crossover form during the song intro. But starts perfectly on time.
Was an oversight.
That's odd, yeah.
He should be fine at this level.
He should be fine, but an 18 is a kind of situation where you don't want to accidentally leave that on in the tournament.
Yeah. T.Swag off to a 3-point lead to start. definitely a sort of chart that definitely rewards being very comfortable with crossovers. Because it's going to throw a whole lot of them at you.
He's extended that lead to, it looks like, about 4? Vanilla 16th runs handled fine by both players, but slightly better by Marqqq, who starts to pull suddenly quite a bit ahead.
Yeah, Marqqq did not pick up a single perfect in those runs until the very last long stream.
I have the same verbal tick as everyone else of occasionally calling him Marqqq. Very tight at the start, but it's one of those things where keeping up your focus or energy or both through an entire song at the 18 level is just hard, and sometimes you can't really guess what got to a player who was handling the first half very, very tightly. And then drop some points.
Well, I mean, and the other thing is, a lot of these 18s, like the first half is actually just easier than the second half, which makes them not only harder to clear, but also harder to execute at a high level, because it's not you're a little bit lower on energy going into the second half, and then it throws you things that are harder than anything that was in the first.
Life 4, definitely not a problem. Yeah, interesting that some people say they don't let you keep Life 4 on in a tournament. I don't know, it probably hurts you more than it hurts the other person, but normally when you see someone with it on, you assume that it's an oversight. And there he is, fixing it now. Probably was using it during warm-ups or something.
No dedicated warm-up songs, but there are other machines here that I'm sure several of the players have opted to play on before their sets.
Yeah, they're one of the ways this tournament has been moving fast is not taking time on the main tournament cabs for warm-ups, but I think especially the top 4 who were buyed all the way through were warming up off stream quite a bit. Marqqq mistimes the sudden start of Ace for Aces. This song, when they added the challenge, became infamous for an extreme slowdown section that we have to see whether both players can keep perfect execution on. Marqqq has just about brought back the point difference from that little flub at the start. Up now ahead by 1. Both of them timing the 24ths in the slowdown. Only a few perfects. And it stays at now back to even.
Even. Oh my goodness.
Oscillated between sort of +1, +2 either way, still continuing to do so. Marqqq steadily pulling ahead, but by a small amount. One of those things where at a song at this speed, a player can sometimes just get a miss or two on a mistake, and so these small point leads, you can never tell what's going to happen.
It really is just a difference of like getting perfects versus all marvelous on some of these quick streams and bursts. That's made up the entirety of the lead Marqqq has here.
Both players completely clean into the slowdown.
This step jump section is one of the hardest parts of the chart to keep clean, and both players doing so wonderfully.
Crowd is getting quite excited during this ending run. Marqqq now well ahead. I didn't say he still has a yellow combo. You didn't say he still has a yellow combo, but everyone in the room was thinking it.
70 perfects, 1 great and 2 misses. That is an exceptional score from a top-level player. T.Swag putting up a strong score himself, 985 on a challenging 18. You know, sometimes your opponent just puts up a ridiculously strong score, and you just can't be upset losing to that.
Climbing out of Group 17 and making it past a round is still just an impressive climb for anyone on the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's not out yet either. It is double elimination, so we'll see how his losers bracket match goes later.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a quick little glance at what happened over on the other stream side. for Aces does not have an MA window. Ace for Aces, you know, everyone's, well, the community's rather first experience with the song was having to PFC the 15 as sort of the original final challenge of Ace. And the sort of gimmick song nature and difficult sync made that a weird endeavor.
Yeah, and the 13, if you cleared only the difficult chart on Life 4 for Endymion, which would have been most players' experience with it, I imagine. The number of people who could Life 4 the expert chart to see Ace for Ace's expert was low. I'm gonna go with low.
I mean, I was still learning to play this game, and I think excited the first time I got to see Endymion Beginner at the arcade. So yeah, I wasn't there figuring out Ace for Ace's 15. FM's was, and we all appreciated him for it.
Looks like on the other cab, Ty beats NOBARBEN by 4 EX to close out the set, 2-1.
Whew. Everyone likes seeing NOBARBEN progress. EX score is a scam. I'm a little more sympathetic to money score than a lot of people in the community, but I get why, you know, tournaments are EX score.
Tournaments, I feel, have to be EX score, especially when you have players executing at this level, because I think that money score or machine score does a fantastic job extolling improvements up into about the mid to high 980,000 range. And then past that, when you're really looking at mastery, the difference between the money score just tells you less than the EX progression in terms of a player's mastery over a chart. There are potential exceptions in some songs' cases where there's just individual parts that are so much harder than the rest of the song that money score is still actually going to be fairly impactful in terms of telling you.
Sorry, we should just jump in here, because if we don't start on Trip Machine Evolution, the first note will be upon us.
That's very true.
Before we're ready for it.
That's very true.
Roscoe and CelAnima. CelAnima, another player who came up out of the groups. He's from Massachusetts. Players hugging it out before the match starts. Let's see if Roscoe can continue the run he's having. TME challenge. I don't remember the first jump. It's left-right.
So there's actually a pneumatic device for that. For the challenge, C is a consonant, and so the first arrow is on left and right, which are also consonants. Experts being starting with a vowel, up and down. There's a vowel being up. Helped me remember it.
We're going to have to see if I can remember that in the future. Roscoe out to an early lead of about 3-4 throughout the entire intro of the song. I think expanding a little now during the fast section. CelAnima taking it a little bit on the 16th note crossovers and jumps, starting to get a little bit more ahead.
Countdown section in the middle should be a fairly telling point in the song, I think.
Honestly, still quite tight given what's left in this song.
Yeah,
Miss
absolutely.
on those horrible jump steps, but staying ahead by, looks like about 20. Now evening up after some misses on the jump span.
Roscoe just nailed all of that.
And is ahead by about 10.
Still a lot of tricky stuff left in this chart. This is a very relentless 18, straight down to the crossover runs at the end. We will have to see how the lead continues to change.
Roscoe extending that lead a little and
Holy
not going to give anything
cow! Roscoe PFCing 90% of that ending with very clean execution. What a run.
You really love when someone, when they're down a little bit, can just stay that focused on an incredibly hard song. You can see him looking very excited over there. Felm 16 coming up, a pocket pick from Cel. We didn't see Roscoe use a pocket pick in his last set, I believe. Meaning he is saving it, so hoping to pull out this round without using it.
So it would seem. It might be that he feels confident enough that even if he loses on Fascination Eternal Love Mix, he should be able to get a win on Possession Expert, but we will see how it goes. Ooh, looks like a 23 perfect record on this from CelAnima. That's formidable.
Practicing his pocket pick. Everyone watching the stream, they're at home now, humming the stop section to Felm to themselves, as you do.
The Jump Revolution. That's not an inaccurate description. The difficult chart, honestly, even more so than the expert. You'll notice the relatively low air rating. It just feels like it has a lot of jumps anyway on account of all of the gallops that function in a similar fashion.
The 18 is where the jumps get brutal.
Yeah. But like even the 13 has an air rating of something like 120 or something ridiculous.
And a different stop section that really throws off people who've only played the 16.
So it's not different, it has a gap note at the beginning of each section, so it works kind of like Chaos, where you hit a note on the second sound that you hear instead of the first.
Pretty straightforward beginning as long as they remember the sudden speed up. Nothing that's going to tax either of these players so far, but given CelAnima's preparation and demonstrated score on this song, it's going to have to be a near perfect run from Roscoe.
And this is one of the biggest divisive factors on this chart.
He was down by about 5 during the stop runs, and now dead even, wavering 1 or 2 here or there, drops down 3 due to a good.
Just keeping your MA clean through this section is so difficult with how the patterns are in between those gallops. And it's really the difference between a good run and a great run on this chart.
CelAnima starting to get ahead by a little more than 10. But Roscoe's been held on very well at the end of the last song. Will he again here with perfect MA on these? He is. So far, he's getting to within 2. Even. Dead even. Crowd is all standing up and hovering, looking over at 1. 1 EX. Oh, well. Roscoe definitely had his chances there, but Cel's pocket pick serves its purpose and keeps him alive.
Those goods really hurt Roscoe there, but what a performance from both.
Cel definitely gave him the opportunity, and they were, I think, it looked dead even so much through the ending run. I bet there were moments where Roscoe was ahead by 1 or 2. Amazing match. Everyone sort of mills around the machine for a few seconds, as they do after a match that ends by 0 or 1. And we move on to Possession 17, a classic that tends to be a bit of a chestnut for really pro players to get very high scores on.
Yeah, this is one of those that's going to be just a battle of perfects. It's almost an expectation at this level for one, to be have it either as a PFC candidate or have it already PFC'd, but also just to get very, very strong perfect counts on a chart that is as straightforward and on sync as this one is, without anything too punishing pattern-wise. It's just a consistency test. I would be fairly surprised if these players ended up missing anything more than, say, 50 or 60 EX points total.
Veterans of the Black Flag Discord all know the important meme of resisting this pro player misinformation that Possession is the easiest 17.
Yeah, a strong difference between difficulty to execute at a high level versus passing or otherwise scoring at a more moderate level, because those jumps that the chart is so known for will absolutely take all of the energy out of you if you're fishing for an earlier 17 clear.
Yeah, if you're out there trying to find that first 17 pass, just don't listen to people, don't pick possession.
I mean, that said, if it does work for you, or if jump streams are your strong suit, as an example, by all means, give it a shot. But don't feel like there's something wrong with you if it's harder than it seems like others make it out to be.
Everyone in that aforementioned crowd now shifting over to this half of the room for this song. You start out with that possession quarter note white combo of 97 for these players. Let's see them do it. Almost, almost. Of course, they're only different by 1 or 2 perfects so far. There hasn't even been that much yet that they would get perfects on. But this one's going to be decided by just a few points. Even that grade could matter, that essentially has CelAnima down by 1 right now. Still 1. Locked in on the jumps. Still 1, 2. Back to 1, back to even.
And after the run, Roscoe fell behind a bit there. We'll have to see if he can make that up. It's going to take borderline MFCing the rest of the chart, I would expect. I don't think CelAnima is going to throw too many errors.
Yeah, that little box step run is kind of the worst part of this song. He just threw a few greats, and yeah, let's see if Cel gives him a window. It looks like it's Cel who's holding on with a little bit more focus in the second round of jumps, extending out to 20. Does not give any more opportunities after that. So CelAnima uses his pocket pick, down 0-1, wins it by 1 EX, and then takes the third song to advance in the winner's bracket.
13 perfects and 2 grades. That just kind of demonstrates what we were talking about. That for people at this level, it really is just, you know, it's a question of perfects. And are you going to be able to avoid getting any of them? Roscoe, you know, he lost by a fair margin, about 20 by the end of that, and which isn't a lot, but when your opponent only missed 17 EX across the whole song, it feels like more. But, you know, even then, he missed less than 50 EX across the whole chart.
I did say winner's bracket a few seconds ago. I meant lower bracket of this top 12, but CelAnima is the first person who moves into the second round of the lower bracket, and Roscoe is the first player knocked out.
At least that we've seen. I don't actually know where the other cab's at for,
I'm trying to keep an eye on the start.gg. But we have a few more first round lower bracket elimination matches, presumably one of which is about to come up over here. They've been keeping this going very smoothly. I see T.Swag walking up, which looks like means we're about to see T.Swag and Desklamp.
And they both used their pocket picks. T.Swag, of course, with the Dead End Groove Radar upbeat special. Saw him play this during the 7v7 battle twice, I think, actually, yes, on Friday. Definitely a chart that he is very familiar with, both before and after upbeat. And Darren opting to protect Avenger Expert. And if we see our third song, that's going to be an MA war. Life is Beautiful Expert 16 is one of those charts that's just fairly simple for players at this level to just really time extremely well.
Yeah, we're going from one of the hardest 18s to score to one of the easiest 16s to score. So, time to see which of those favors which player.
We have the meme cheers for Dead End Groove Radar Special.
I kind of feel like at this point people have been Stockholm syndromed into actually liking Deggers.
I don't think hardly anyone actually likes it. I really think it's just the meme that they have to cheer for it because of that upbeat experience. I believe T.Swag is one of the people who will genuinely tell you that on shuffle it's a decent chart.
T.Swag opting for comparatively low speed mod and shuffle. I didn't see, or sorry, that was Desklamp. I didn't see what T.Swag picked.
It's definitely shuffle.
Yeah, I believe we saw him shuffle this previously in those plays he talked about on Friday. Both shuffle, both 1.5.
It appears that their shuffles are... Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say mirrors of each other, but it appears to not quite be that simple.
Trying to read this. I don't see anything too mean coming out of either player's shuffles yet. T.Swag taking a noticeable lead this early in the song, 30 points.
Desklamp struggling a bit. I do wonder if he is feeling a little bit exhausted after some of his earlier sets. His first song of his tournament performance today was Possession 20th Challenge, so just maybe a little bit more tired.
People asking how Shuffle shuffles the steps. There are 8 possibilities, sort of seemingly arbitrarily chosen out of all the possible ways to shuffle 4 notes. And they have a tendency to change the cyclic order of the notes, so they unwind crossovers or candles or other patterns where notes don't flow. And that tends to be why people pick it.
Very specifically, Shuffle cannot give you any of the permutations that are already covered by mirror left or right. And then half of the remaining possibilities are represented.
T.Swag picked the song for a reason and takes it handily. Deggers copy pasta, honestly probably valid. Deggers has spread throughout the community by now. We played it twice on Friday, we played it at least once today. Okay, now to the medium song of the set, Avenger. Half of a slow song, and then some drills. I kind of don't know what else to say.
80% of the slow song.
Yeah,
It really just is that ending where the bass is going burr, and the charters decided that your legs should do that too. But the first 80% of this is a forced slow scroll section with very windy crossover patterns. Honestly, a lot of fun to execute.
Now we've got Desklamp copy pasta. Maybe I like that better than Deggers copy pasta. People like Desklamp. One sudden plus user, one not. I think that was true in Deggers as well, although he didn't comment on it. Also
like
one
Desklamp
mirror
is.
user and one not. I don't remember if that's chosen because of how it affects drills at the end.
It's probably related to foot dominance for the drill patterns. Some people prefer to start on their left or right foot specifically, and it's probably related to that if I had to guess.
That makes total sense. We have about 20 points for Desklamp in favor of extending this towards a 3rd song. He nails that run, keeps it at exactly 20. A Essentially nothing changing so far in the quarter speed section. I mean, that 20 that he came out to in the first 30 seconds has stayed completely even between the players since then. But does not look like T.Swag has been able to get points back.
21 is the difference.
Getting close to the ending drills, and anything can happen here, because if you get off on a drill, you can lose a lot of points very fast. Kind of happened a little, but only to the tune of about 10 points or so. Closer, closer. Still closer. Still about 4 points. That's just a few perfects in a drill. No,
Desklamp takes it by 5. Very close.
Yeah, like I was saying going into that last section, a drill is a place where if you get 1 perfect, you might suddenly get 8 before you can fix it. They are just brutal that way.
It's very hard to correct midstream.
Now the complete opposite of those two songs, Life is Beautiful, everyone's favorite 16 to play for whatever your score threshold is that you're trying to reach on 16s. Are you trying to play it? Are you trying to AAA a 16? Are you trying to PFC a 16? Call Life is Beautiful today.
The only thing to really account for on that regard is that the sync is quite late. But as long as you can deal with that and just a couple of 7-arrow streams and 2 crossover 5-arrow streams, that's really the trickiest things that the chart has to throw at you. A couple of little syncopated 12th note jacks, but really not too much to trip you up.
And those last little offbeat gallops right at the end. Normally we don't say it, but we really should be seeing some white combos for a while here. Nope, still only 1.
Can we take a moment to just say how good Nekabata Master songs tend to be?
That's part of why this is a favorite 16. Admittedly, it's not just the scores. If you like playing this song. Looks like 3 points. Whatever perfects the players do lose on this song, probably more of them near the end, in those repeated 5-note runs you were talking about. You see a couple perfects in here, sort of shifting the score between 3 and 5 in favor of Desklamp as we go. 6 now? So it's already close back up again as we were looking at it. Both players staying yellow, doing the first round of 5-note runs, and now we're into the second break.
Looks like there's only 3 EX separating them now. Very, very close here.
2, every player who gets a perfect in this section is picking themselves just a little. 1, anything can happen in this ending.
And here we go.
Even. A miss!
And Desklamp takes it by a single point.
No, that was T.Swag by 9.
Oh! Wow, I misread that entirely.
Sorry, I didn't want to say it until the score screen came up so that I was sure I had read it right. They were dead even. A miss from T.Swag made it 3, but then he just held on and scraped a few sudden points right at the very end.
Yeah, it looks like Desklamp picked up some greats and some perfects in the very end, and T.Swag, apart from the miss, just held all marvelous.
All right, we have another player knocked out, and if there were 2 more over on the other stream, then we are down to our top 8 for the event. bunch of people gathered for card draws over there at the table. Guess we're going to see things moving on very promptly here. Carrie says, hi, Nightman.
Hello, Carrie.
I said Carrie says because it was like Carrie says, but then also her name is Carrie says.
I know, right?
I've been bamboozled. Hi, Trescal and Root. Other people have
That's
seen
it.
and
See
streamed
you
before.
next time on the dance floor.
Hi, Boba. Hi, others that probably scrolled by during some of those songs.
Oh man, I hear you there, Daggett. It would be so nice to have like one of those little graph things.
Yeah, I mean, the little widget that lets
Yeah.
you compare them on stream is a godsend.
Yeah, that
but
picture-in-picture is nice, but having something graphic like that, like for the BPL thing, would be absolutely awesome.
Hello, Typo. So many people coming out to watch. 168 on our stream. Going to guess more on the other stream.
Well, I mean, honestly, a lot of people probably have both up. I don't know exactly how Twitch counts viewers.
Also
but
true. Hi to everyone who's multi-twitching.
Yes. That's certainly what I would be doing if I was not here.
See everyone gathering over on the other side of the divider to a song, and I hear a very familiar bass beat through my headphones, but like, brain is too fried from trying to talk on stream to try to do the recall of what song that is. Trigger.
Yeah,
There's
this
some
is
trigger going on the other side of this room. There's some NOBARBEN trigger going on the other side of this room. So all the people multi-twitching are doing the exact same thing as all the people in the room. It's like a mob of people kind of shifting back and forth between the standing areas in the two sides of this arcade. It's sort of very funny to see happening all evening from over here.
Yeah, I was certainly part of that mob earlier before I sat down at a desk. There's so much going on, so many amazing matches. You just kind of have to try to watch them all.
Someone says, game audio down, please, I think. Is that from our cab during the break?
No, that's the other stream chat.
Oh, oh boy, that's gonna kill me.
Just a little treat letting us watch the other stream while we don't have a match actively going on over here.
See,
Shout
Ben
outs
with
to
a
our stream technician over here.
over Andrew over there. Seeing Ben just climb to be the point where he's seeded into the top 8 of this thing is pretty wild. I mean, he was close to that in Upbeat as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's been a strong facet of all of these California or other West Coast area tournaments for a long time, and he was always, if not actually in the top 8, then very close to it. And he's just kind of slowly gotten better and better. And while the rest of the competition has as well, he seems to have just improved a slight bit faster.
Yeah, I like sort of watching his form. When I try to do some no-bar play myself, my partner Dayani does also. Just a all-around really fun player to watch and kind of a fixture of the community around here. I think I first met him in an Irvine tournament, which is where we lived when I started playing.
For me, it was at Fresno Frenzy 2.
That may have been the first place I actually met him. There were a whole bunch of tournaments that used to go on between Fresno and Irvine back before COVID, where kind of a lot of the California crew would meet regularly. The sort of people that would now be on a Twitch stream called SoCalDDR, for that matter.
Yeah, it is a lot of the same crew.
All right, is that Cel and FENRIR coming up over back on our side? And let's see this card draw. Oh, nice songs, fun songs. Splash Golden Revolution. I like them for completely different reasons.
I have feelings about those songs. They're not particularly positive ones, if I'm being honest. I like Revolution as a song. I don't like any of the charts that it has particularly well. I think that they suit the song well, but I do not enjoy playing them.
So, which happened first? That or Typo asking in chat for a Nightman opinion? I do have to know.
Oh. I didn't even see that.
I think we have our answer. Also, shout out to everyone who just had to play Splash Gold in Valkyrie Bloom. That was my reintroduction to DDR after like a year of not playing it. Yeah, our stream admin was being nice and showing us the other chat while we were talking about triggers, so sorry if we missed a little bit of it.
Yeah. I'm also... I don't particularly enjoy Splash Gold. Sorry.
It's such a banger that I actually click on it, even though it's ridiculously hard and I feel dead after I play it.
The structure of the chart annoys me, because it feels like it doesn't do too much until the ending stream, and that ending stream is just ridiculous, because it's just a non-stop 150 BPM stream for something like 20 seconds or something else ridiculous. And it's just like, why is this here? It's just very imbalanced. It goes from basically a 15 to a 17 at the very end, and so it averages out to be a 16.
Averages out to be a 16 that you have to sit down right when you finish playing. Yeah, but exactly, it's just fire as a song. I really think that biases the opinion of it a lot. This is the song for those days where you don't have a particular goal and you're just playing bangers only. The streamer's favorite tags, there's so many. There are so many.
Yeah, I'd be hard-pressed to pick one.
He doesn't miss.
First stage.
Alright, apparently there was some Ben action going on across the room, but focusing in now on the intro Splash Gold. Both players handling the intro, but Cel to the tune of about 10EX better.
And I believe this was CelAnima's pick, or Protect.
First little slowdown there is not really much. Both players dropping the X or two on that second little bit of funky business, but still not too much to it, as Nightman said at the start. Now the 5-note runs that ask you to either turn or double step into the start of them. What's the idea behind protecting a song? Of all the songs drawn, the players each get to pull one to the front of the best of 3. So essentially, each player's favorite song that isn't vetoed is one of the songs that gets played.
I will say, as much as I don't love this chart or song that much, that little section in the middle is absolutely beautiful.
16th note run with stops, so I'm holding on to 15 points right now, but I think a lot of the points dropped in this song are probably in the ending run. Let's see. Not so far. Okay, now the true ending run. Nope, they are locked in. They know where to read it, they know where to turn. Okay, never mind. Players at this level don't care about the ending run of Splash Gold. They just both power through it like it wasn't there, and CelAnima holds on to his lead.
A couple of small mistakes by FENRIR at the very end of them, but it really didn't make a difference. CelAnima just didn't give him any room to make up the lead that was already there. Now we move on to FENRIR's Protect of Revolution. Just some step jump patterns, lots of stamina, and then a very, very fast ending.
Yeah, everyone kind of remembers the long 12th note run at the end, but I think it's the 16th note runs before it that are worse.
And the 16th note drills afterward.
Yeah. And the jumps thrown in.
Yeah.
Just a tiring 17, not much else going on. Another great song.
Yeah, fantastic song. It's just a fun sound.
And the sync. I feel like my hottest DDR take is that I kind of tune out talking about the sync on every song because people do so much that I tend not to comment on sync.
Second stage. Let's go.
I used to spend so much time with this 14.
So a lot of this song is just 8th note patterning and some step jumps. We won't really see too much in the way of 16th notes until the ending stuff, or past the halfway point and the stop. Just that one there for the most part.
But FENRIR catches back up on that drilly pattern. Yeah, the buildup of difficulty in the song, you know, there are a lot of songs where you're really happy with your yellow combo for the first half of whatever difficulty because the song hasn't really done its thing yet. I think this one's a little worse because of the energy drain at the very end.
Yeah, and it's not like the rest of this isn't tiring, right? Like, it is just 8th notes, but the patterns aren't particularly straightforward for the most part. There's a lot of jumps thrown in the mix.
Yeah, kind of what I mean, like, you are not at 100% energy when you get to the fast part.
Correct. And this does not help.
It's kind of, this is the beginning of the real ramp up.
Yeah. Looks like FENRIR does have a very small lead here. But the end is the real difference maker. Let's see it.
Nice MA for Cell through that other drilly boxy pattern. But FENRIR is starting to get ahead now by about 10 into the 12th notes.
Absolutely locked in. Wow, that is incredible.
He extends that lead through the end and holds on and handles the whole song well.
Wow. 38 perfects, 2 greats, 1 miss. That's exceptional. I think the scariest part of that is in the very beginning, CelAnima was ahead. So that really means that FENRIR was making mistakes at the beginning when it wasn't really, he just like hadn't quite found the sync yet, I guess, or the window, and then he still managed to throw so few perfects.
Yeah, it's always, in this top 12, we've been seeing so much more back and forth on the scores than we had in the earlier 2 days because the skill gaps are so tight. And yeah, even a player giving up a few perfects here or there because, you know, nobody plays tournament songs like they do on their high scores, and they're always throwing a few mistakes here and there. You never know whether the player who does at the start of the song is going to be the one who holds on to the entire rest of it.
It looks like for the tiebreaker we have Astrogazer 18, which is without question one of the best constructed 18 charts in the game.
Lots of fun crossovers, long streams, 24th note bursts, odd rhythms, 2 stops. I don't know, I could probably keep saying things about Astrogazer.
3 stops.
Sure. Doubles tourney when? You know, a lot of those smaller California events we talked about used to have doubles tournaments, but a lot of events just have a hard time fitting one in because the sheer amount of sort of cabinet hours that need to be taken up for it.
Yeah, that really is the bottom line. It's not that there isn't the want to be able to have a doubles event. It's just it's not going to have as many entrants as the singles event, and the singles event has so many entrants that that are trying to be accommodated that it takes the entire weekend. We've been running pools since as soon as we could get everything running on Saturday morning and till almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And then we were back here at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning to start again, and we're still going.
Especially these big tournaments pulling in multi-state players that if you can support 100 players, 100 people will sign up for singles these days. It's kind of awesome. First long stream. I think some crossovers creep into this one, right? Yep, right there. Dead even out of the long stream after a few perfects back and forth from each.
A couple mistakes from FENRIR let CelAnima take the lead, but he seems to be trying to claw it back already.
Ooh, a crossover miss from Cel. But holds on to it. Some nice MA on that little, I don't know what you call it, 24th note triplet thing on the blue note. Coming up to the second long stream and a few more crossovers nestled into it. This time Cel takes them down. Very, very strong MA. Winds up ahead by 9. Now a little bit less. Now 1. Ooh, now FENRIR by 1. Climbing ahead now. I was about to say could go either way, but FENRIR holds on to the fast part at the end and just extends that lead out more and more.
FENRIR takes the win and eliminates CelAnima from the tournament.
FENRIR is going to move on to our lower bracket round of 4. We'll be meeting one of the yet-to-be-seen players coming down from upper bracket.
Both players casually AAA in 18.
Yeah, sometimes you don't glance down at that money score, but yeah, that is quite a show. Over on the other side, it looks like the winner's top 4, Chris, Chaos, Mark, and Ty advanced. And we're going to be having NOBARBEN and T.Swag fighting their way forward in the lower bracket. There we have the bracket.
The two
up on
players
stream
that do
now.
the most crossovers.
Oh, you're sad to see them have to go after each other?
Well, I mean, yes, but no. I will be sad if it's on the other setup, though.
Aw, well, I guess we'll probably find that out momentarily. Yeah, we're just at the point in the day now where every song play is completely ridiculous, honestly. Even when we talk about, like, someone losing 90x in the long stream of Astrogazer or something like that. Okay, now there's some Paranoia Hades happening in the room.
Yep. That's Ben and T.Swag. Being Paranoia Hades, I'm going to assume that was T.Swag to protect, possibly Pocket Pick.
Chris and Chaos coming over here for a winner's bracket semifinal. So this is the most advanced round match we've seen so far. Again, both players need no introduction. Chris, a strong contender in DDR tournaments, Chaos, famous freestyler, and also extremely high-ranking player in tournaments.
Well, We commented earlier that it seemed a little bit surprising that someone would protect over the period against Chris, and now he's using it as his pocket pick. So that kind of demonstrates the sentiment we were going for there.
And Chaos holds his pocket pick, at least if he hasn't used it over there already, to leave Bamboo Sword Girl challenging the draw. So we're going to be starting with 2 18s, and let's see what happens. Trying to see the speed mod, but Chris probably using that same 1.75 he used on OTP half an hour ago.
Ready, set, step.
The fun, classic beginning of OTP that you try to time by watching the note segments fill up. Chris getting slightly off on the 5-note burst coming out of it, and that starts us out even.
100 combos. They're cheering for you and only you, baby. Oh, yeah! 200 combos.
Just absolutely intimidating MA on those ladder runs. Gets him a lead. The swoosh section, the most fun to listen to. Not too many points to be had there, though.
It's a very iconic section. It's very strange at first, but once you understand it, it's both simple and honestly fun.
Yeah, I just like it. I don't know what else to say beyond that.
That's what I'm talking about. You got the magic touch, baby. 400 combos. You're on fire.
Let's see if Chris fixes this little slip up on the fast section from earlier. I have to think he wants to.
600 combos.
Absolutely beasts it. One great.
That is genuinely the thing that Chris does better than probably anyone in the world. Like to say nothing of anything else that he's obviously performed. He is absolutely known for identifying a mistake that he's made and correcting it in his next play of something. That is what he does, and that is what makes him the player that he is.
And what was the other 18? Bamboo Sword Girl.
Correct.
Pretty different 18.
Extremely different. Yeah, 35 perfects and 5 greats is absurd.
Chris using Mirror and 3x. Chaos looking like settling on 2.5x. Would make this 520. Checking in on NOBARBEN and T.Swag over there playing New Decade, it looks like. Meanwhile, these two players have shuffled their legs around a bit, shaken hands, fist bumped. Bamboo Sword Girl 18. Basically just a very high energy 18.
I've honestly never seen this chart before.
Chaos Chaos with a little lead at the start. Very, very clean start. 2 points?
That's
3 points?
a pattern.
Come on, check that crowd. They love it.
Chaos actually off to the lead here.
Chaos holding on. Chaos, total focus. We know everyone wants to see him keep that up.
100 combos.
Still by 1, now 0.
Get the combo king. 200 combos.
Chris getting just a few points up, but sort of a heroic play from Chaos so far. Just want to see him keep up this.
300.
He's come out of the miss with a long run of extremely good MA. Unfortunately, then another miss.
Yo, check the crowd. They love it. 400 combos.
14EX separates the two right now.
You're the one they came to see. You're gonna break the meter. Can't wait to see it. 500 combos.
Both with remarkable MA on first the stream and then the drill. Chaos gets just a little bit behind on that second part of that long stream.
Oh my goodness. That was a very strong showing from Chaos. 44 perfects, 4 greats. Really a shame about those misses.
Yeah, the final score doesn't really show that Chaos was within 14 of Chris for the first 95% of that song.
Yeah, and that long drill, as D had mentioned, he basically MFC'd that.
The other winners bracket semifinal will be Mark and Ty. And who did wind up advancing out of NOBARBEN and T.Swag?
NOBARBEN.
It was NOBARBEN.
Took it on New Decade by about 20.
I mean, you're right. I would have been happy seeing either of those two play more. I don't know if I have comments on how Bamboo Sword Girl ranks against the other 18s. The stream says this is Stars Round 2. Lost track of what's going on in the other chat. Let me try to keep our chat up at the same time. We have the technology.
The aforementioned mob is all departed and is watching the other match at the moment.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to finish out that round over there and then plan out the lower bracket round of 4.
Which makes sense. Have to finish populating it before they can really start ascribing card draws.
Still, that looks like an exciting one going on the other stream that everyone has multi-twitched and is probably seeing just a second ahead of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, Chaos and NOBARBEN in losers quarters is going to be the next possible match. The other losers quarters match is waiting for the results of the A-stream match, currently Mark and Ty. So given that Chaos just played, I think we'll give him a quick break before we go ahead and start that match on the stream.
Awesome, thank you for the update. Looking forward to Chaos and NOBARBEN here. So yeah, this has been a really great weekend event. I don't know if we've talked about it much today, but the venue is amazing.
Oh yeah.
I'm not from Las Vegas. I've never been here.
Yeah, this is my first time here too. The AC has been wonderful. It is a scorching like 115 plus degrees outside and has been all weekend, and it doesn't really cool off that much at night. It might cool off to only approximately like 95 to 100 degrees. But even despite all the people here, all the activity, the AC in the venue has kept it to a nice 75 degrees or so.
The room behind us is screaming about Ty taking a song off of Marqqq by 2EX. Looking forward to seeing more of that. And yeah, Red Note in Las Vegas. It's a rhythm game focused arcade. It's cool. I mean, one of the draws of coming to this whole event wasn't just the usual participate in, watch, hang out at, etc. DDR tournament, but just kind of play a whole bank of free rhythm games if you were signed up as a spectator and spending the whole weekend in this place.
Yeah, there's just a small venue fee as an entrance fee, and then everything in here is free play with Pump It Up, Step Maniacs, and various other rhythm games. It's just a really great space, and the staff has been wonderful and accommodating for all of this. So there is a water dispenser, like one of those water bottle refill stations in the corner.
Yeah, lots of little details. The staff had plastic forks for me when I ordered takeout food and didn't get any. Shout out to them. But also, like, more seriously, they've been actively supportive of the event the entire time, kind of participating in the crowd / doing whatever anyone needs.
Yeah, and two of the staff actually competed in the tournament. Just they're in a space that is dedicated to rhythm games. It's no surprise that some of them do play the games. Shout outs to Chesmix, who actually did fairly well. Was in, what was it, pool 14, I think, 13, 14, and either it did advance or nearly advanced.
Yeah, and they also have a lot of technical know-how about keeping pads ship-shape, which has mattered on, like, I've seen them fix up the Step Maniacs pads over the weekend while I was trying to play them, and has mattered a few times during the day today.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a great space and caring staff. It's just a really, really great thing to have a space like this here.
Oh yeah. What am I doing?
I mean, if someone tries to join in the next, get on in the next minute, wait another minute.
Okay.
Sorry, a little bit of stream producer shuffling around while we wait for our side to come back online. I assume people are simply just not rushing it. I see Chaos standing over there by the card draw table, watching Mark and Ty, like everyone in the room is right now, including the two of us sitting here on a little stream window. And so is probably everyone in chat. Especially because they're dead even. And now Ty is ahead by 4. Okay, now I'm just casting the other chat, which, don't worry. I trust that Tizza and Ambones are doing an amazing job at the same time. So I don't have to. Alright, we see Ben and Chaos stepping up, or at least Ben stepping up onto our machine. Nope, there's Ben and Chaos. But I think they're not actually supposed to start until the other match is done and our stream producer is back. Wow, Ty pulls ahead. There's going to be a gigantic cheer in a moment as he takes a round 2-0 off of Mark. There it is. Alright, we should probably pick back up over here as the mob inevitably starts to drift back this way while two players set up for a match and they go back into card draws or waiting for results or whatever they have to do over there. Yeah, maybe one of the first big upsets of the day.
I wouldn't say that. We
Not the
definitely
whole
had-
day, not the whole day of this top 12 that I've been sitting here for.
Well, I mean, let me. One of the matches in the bracket earlier, one of the advancing players beat the auto-seeded player, so that's an upset. I don't remember who it was. I'm not looking at the bracket right now. Or rather, I don't have it up in front of me.
Yeah, it's funny how fried your brain gets doing this for even a few minutes. It was T.Swag.
Yeah, T.Swag.
Sort of still being quiet for a moment because I'm not really sure when we're starting in earnest on this side. I still see Ben and Alex and a few other people milling around the card draw table. But people are starting to sit down in the chairs that are at this side of the room. It's kind of funny how the mob that's drifting back and forth between the two machines now includes the people that were in the chairs because everyone just wants to see the end of whatever round is happening.
Yeah. It looks like we do have our set in front of us, though. So we'll be playing Egoism first, protected by Ben. And then Chaos protected, smallest try-perfect number. And if it goes 1-1, we will finish with Happy Lucky Happy.
Egoism, classic 18, just high speed, high energy.
It does sound like, it appears that we're being told this was going to be the final match on this stream. Past this point, it's going to be all on the SoCalDDR setup so that it's more convenient for everyone to continue to watch. And we have made up enough time at this point, or gotten things progressed far enough that the organizers are comfortable just running everything else on one convenient location.
All right, that is a cool round to be ending this on. One out of Ben and Chaos will be advancing into the lower bracket round of 2. It's our first time seeing NOBARBEN over on this side today, I think.
Yep.
Getting a lot of Let's Go Ben in the chat. I sympathize with the Let's Go Ben. I'm team Let's Go Ben.
Yeah, as much as I definitely do empathize with the Let's Go Ben, I do also want to see Chaos do well. I just want to see them both do well. I like both of these players a lot.
Yeah.
Chaos is a local to the same area that I am roughly. Like I'm not too far outside of the bay where Chaos tends to play. Just a really friendly guy, and obviously Ben as well. Just like not only great players, but also great people.
We've got some Team Chaos and Team Good DRR in the chat as well. Hyping up the crowd for this round. All right, we're getting DDR back over here one more time today. Chaos and Ben, Egoism 440, slow start. Ben nails the timing very nicely. And jumps out to a lead. Amazing form on those drills, keeps the timing completely tight and extends his lead to a comfortable 40 or so in the first really high speed section. Hits the bursts.
I wouldn't be worried about Ben slipping. Sometimes that's just what it looks like to play no bar.
Yeah, he's always had this form that leans quite far forward to get a center of gravity down in the way that you need to do in order to have this kind of foot speed, or at least in the way that he has found to make that work rather incredibly well. He does drop a few misses there, but not nearly enough to give back the 40 or so points he had from the beginning.
Yeah, Ben takes that fairly comfortably. The players with very similar perfect counts, but Ben just had less greats.
All right, well, if he can take lowest tri-perfect, then we will still be seeing more Ben today. Always interesting to check what speed mods players pick for this song, because it lets you know whether they memorize the ending or whether they favor reading the chart slow. Yeah, this is tri-perfect number. This is 888, the sequel.
Yeah, in very Technorch chart fashion, it has some very interesting patterns and some read speed shenanigans.
I'm also just a fan of the 5-4 time signature rearing its head in DDR.
Yeah, same. Same.
5 is the least tri-perfect number. The least tri-perfect number is 120. I don't remember the whole edifice of numerology going on in the way this song is named, but it has segments of the song that are in 4-4, 5-4, and 6-4, which is what matters for DDR.
5 times 4 times 3.
Okay, the 6-4 is 3-4, yeah. It's not 120 BPM. Don't give him ideas. He would have made this 480 BPM. Nobody wants that. The energy in the room is just so positive. Everyone coming over here, like everyone really is just cheering on both of these players. You see how often the players hug it out after the song, no matter what happens. It's just been friendly and fun all day. Well, obviously pretty hard to keep up with Ben's white combo there. Chaos also had a little bit of a slip for a miss right at the start.
So this chart has, along with the read speed shenanigans, it has some really fast bursts. It is at 220 BPM equivalent. It doesn't have you do a lot of streaming at that speed, but it does have some tricky patterning in and out of these slowdowns. And it does have a couple of longer runs.
And merely the fact that the time signature is changing in that way between the songs means that when you try to sort of track the rhythm in your head, you have to focus a lot on making sure you don't assume the wrong thing or anticipate the wrong thing, even once you know the chart well. Okay, Chaos closed that to 2EX suddenly, so we're gonna have an exciting ending. Even? Stays even? Plus minus 1 EX floating around? Okay, now a little bit more for Ben, but honestly, so much can happen in the ending, especially at this read speed.
All right, so 7 is the lead. Let's see how he handles the end.
Deep breath before this end. Ben holds it.
And holds it.
So that's going to be our last song of the day on this stream from what we hear.
45, perfect. Oh my goodness. I knew it was a good run, but wow, that's incredible. All right. So go ahead and stay tuned here for the raid. That was the last match that you're going to see on this stream, as Hamlet said. So we're going to sign off in a moment here, but we are going to raid over to SoCalDDR for the remainder of the matches of this tournament. And I'm going to join the mob crowd that's been moving back and forth, and watch the rest of these matches.
So am I. Yeah, like he said, you can stay tuned right here if you're not multi-twitching already. And the last, I believe, 6 players alive will all be fighting for it on the other stream. See everyone there, and thank you so much for watching and being in the chat.
Yeah. Have a great evening, everyone. Let's enjoy the rest of the tournament.